house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a gold builder that could teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really about to fill your savings. You about to have multiple streams to pass your children, baby. Let me teach you to get your credit on track in the long run. You'll make it all back at Catalyst and watch it all psychological black on firm, but we ain't all black.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Constance Carter, and it is Money Monday. What's happening, y'all? Come on in, my friends, right now and let everybody know that Constance Carter is online and we about to have a real engaging conversation. So, listen, let me tell you the rules, okay? So we got some rules of engagement. All right. So I come live on Mondays and I want to talk about money because it's Money Monday. And specifically today, I'm going to talk about kind of what's been going on, but how does this affect your bottom line? Because at the end of the day, that's all we care about, right? So understand this, y'all, this is a dialogue and not a monologue. And so what does that mean for me? That means I want you to talk back to me and talk black to me, okay? So what does that mean? I love it when you engage. I love it when you comment because I want to interact with you. That's the reason why I come live. Now, if you're watching from Instagram, I'm just starting to go live on Instagram a little bit. So if you're watching on Instagram and if you want to comment, I can't see your comments on Instagram. I can't put them on the stage like I can with everybody else because Instagram doesn't come on here. So if you're on Instagram and you want to come and engage with us, you can come on YouTube. You can come on Facebook. You can even go on LinkedIn or on Twitter. All right. So I just want to say happy Monday to everybody. And thank you, Alec, for me. So for everybody, you guys know what it is. Put in the comments where you watch it from, because I know we have people that watch them all over the world. And I love to shout you out. I love to engage with you. Okay. Miss Etheline from Maryland. Hey, Etheline. Etheline was in my B1 real estate mastery training. She was in the first cohort of the mastery training. What's up, Miss Etheline? So listen, I'm going to get right to it because I don't have a whole lot of time. You see, I'm coming a little bit later than I normally do, but I wanted to make sure that I came live with you. So if this is your first time here, I just want to tell you, welcome home. Okay. You have found the right place. We talk about money. We talk about power. We talk about what's really happening in the world and how it affects your bottom line, how it affects your money, your money. You heard me. So your money, your family, your future. And today we about to go in a little bit because I want to talk to you about what's going on in this administration. What's up, Quick? What's up, LaQuisha from Cali? What's happening? Everything is good. I'm glad, Etheline. So listen, get your coffee, get your tea. If you're driving, keep your hands on the steering wheel, keep your ears open, because what I'm about to share with you today is not an opinion. This is documented. This is receipted. Okay. I always try to come with the receipts. Okay. This is happening right now in real time. And every single person listening to this show needs to understand it. All right. Because here's the truth, y'all. And this is the truth that nobody really wants to say out loud. While you have been distracted by this ultra sheer circus, and baby, it is a circus. You heard me. Somebody has been picking your pockets. You remember what Lyndon B. Johnson said. Okay. So today we're going to talk about when a clown moves into the palace. And when a clown moves into the palace, he doesn't become a king. The palace becomes a circus. All right. So listen, before we dive in, I need you to understand something. I talk about politics all the time, but this is not, I'm not here to talk political. I'm really seriously here to talk about your money. Okay. So this is not a political podcast. This is a money, how to grow your money. This is all about wealth. It's all about how to help Black people, because I exist to help Black people build and grow their wealth and also transfer it to their children and their children's children, the next generation. So this is about really your financial future and everything that impacts it. And unfortunately, politics is what's impacting right now. This clown that's in office is what's impacting your bottom line. Okay. So this is all about politics, but guess what? Politics is finance. Politics is about money. That's what's going on. All right. So y'all, this administration, Donald the clown, the bozo Trump, is beefing with everybody. I don't know if y'all been watching, and listen, I feel like when you miss a day, you miss a lot, because I wasn't on social media over the weekend that much, and when I got on today, I was just like, damn. I mean, if you miss a day, you miss out on the craziest. And I haven't been on all day today, so I'm sure some shit that's it's a real shit show out here in these streets. But he's beefing with everybody. He's beefing with the Democrats. Okay, of course that's to be expected, right? He's beefing with the mainstream media. That's fake news. You notice how every time somebody questions him, asks him a question, he doesn't answer the question. What he'll do is he'll say, what news outlet are you from? And then if they say ABC or the New York Post, oh, it's fake news. Oh, you're so terrible. You're the worst journalist ever. You lost your credibility. And he refuses to answer any questions. And it's crazy because listen, what's going on in the administration, it is indicative of what America is. So what's been happening is America has kind of been covered up over the last 50, 60 years because of, political correctness and decorum and trying to fix, but really they've just swept it under the rug. When you don't take care of your people, when you don't acknowledge injustices and wrongs that you've done, when you don't right the wrongs, when you don't provide reparations or repair for the things that you've done, you've only swept them underneath the rug. And what happens when you sweep things underneath the rug, of course, it doesn't get better. It just starts bubbling and bubbling and bubbling. And so this right here, this clown show, this freak show that we see right now is just an indicator of what's happening overall in the country. This just mirrors where we are, where America is as a country. Okay. So the crazy thing is now he's not only beefing with the media and beefing with the Democrats, which is to be expected, he's beefing with his own MAGA base. The people who showed up at every single rally, these people who voted for him twice, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, Megyn Kelly, like all these people who spent years defending this man on camera, on social media, in their living rooms, on Thanksgiving, everywhere. And it's crazy because he called them low IQ. Now, this is coming from the person who has the vocabulary of a third grader, literally. And the people who follow him have the comprehension of third grade. And he calls everybody who he beefs with low IQ. He called them low IQ losers on Truth Social, right? Now, y'all, these were his ride or die. Now they're nut jobs, okay? Why did they fall out? Because of the war. Because Trump promised his MAGA ride or die people that it was going to be America first on foreign policy, no new wars. Then he launched this attack on Israel. And he killed Iran's supreme leader. And they've already cost 6 American lives, right? So 6 people died in this made-up war that he unilaterally decided to just go out on his own without the approval of Congress. Then you got like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Remember, she was MAGA out. Remember, that's big, bad body, beach, blonde, whatever that Jasmine Green called her. Remember that? And he's been beefing with her for months. She said that he strayed away from the America First principles, which it really wasn't. This was never about America for Donald Trump. This was always about this man's ego. It has always been. It's about who can massage his ego. He just wants to know. If you ever hear him, only thing he talks about is I won, because he's shocked that he won. Because obviously his cheating has gotten him into the highest office in the land. And so the only thing he talks about is his winning. I want to buy a landslide. He don't know nothing about foreign policy. He don't know nothing about politics. He doesn't know nothing about the economy. He doesn't know anything about balancing a budget. Only thing he wants is somebody to stroke his ego. And unfortunately, he has nut jobs in there. Okay. So it was crazy because I saw Tucker Carlson say on his podcast that this is Israel's war. This has nothing to do with the United States. It's not a United States war. But even they are now stepping back and say, wait, this ain't what we signed up for. We knew it. But see, here's the thing about these people is they are so sick with racism. They are so sick with racism that they thought that they thought Trump was going to do was going to affect everybody else except them. They thought that they were going to get rid of the illegals. And what happens? So now you got them being assaulted, them being killed, them being murdered by his policies. And what ends up happening is you have the economy destroyed. A lot of the people who did the work can no longer do the work. Nobody wanted to do the jobs that the immigrants were doing. Don't call them illegal aliens if the immigrants, nobody wanted to do those jobs. But yet now you have all these people that you've deported. But the reason why he's in office is because of racism. America is so sick with racism that they would rather. This is the reason why we don't have universal health care right now. It was they voted that down twice to have universal health care because they were afraid that Black people would get universal health care. And we send billions of dollars to Israel, and Israel has universal health care. And guess what? The United States doesn't. That's crazy. So the crazy thing is that it didn't stop there. Dude, this lunatic picked a fight with the Pope. Have you ever heard of anybody who's beefed with the doggone Pope? So on Orthodox Easter Sunday, he attacked Pope Leo. What is he, like the 14th or something like that? Because the Pope stood publicly against his war in Iran. The Pope called for peace. That's what the Pope does. That's what popes do, right? He said that the war was unjust. And Trump responded by attacking the leader of the Catholic Church on social media, calling him weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. This is the mother effing Pope. This is how crazy this fool is. And how many millions of Catholics do you got that you just offended? Okay. Then within an hour after attacking the Pope, this fool posted an AI-generated image of himself as Jesus Christ laying hands on a patient in the hospital bed. Did y'all see that? Surrounded by bald eagles and the American flag, the Statue of Liberty. Delusion. I need you to sit with that for a moment. The President of the United States attacked the Pope and then posted himself as Jesus. Yeah, Sage, he posted himself as Jesus. It's crazy what you see out here. It is crazy. But this is the lunacy of Donald Trump that we are dealing with. And then you think about this, y'all. Now, Paula White, and it just irritates my soul that Paula White was a grifter. This irritates me about how these people prey on the emotions of Black people. Paula White, I remember in the 90s, I was sold out for Christ. I used to play the bass in the choir, and all my friends that was in the choirs and that were involved in church, they were followers of Paula White. Y'all see Paula White and Benny Hinn and Paula White. And now you see Paula White, what she just said about him the week of Easter, that she likened him to Christ. And basically said he was basically like he suffered for our sins, and some crazy ass shit that she says. I mean, it's crazy, but she gave him the permission to appear as the Antichrist. You think about this. I wish I was making this up, because this was actually on April Fool's Day. The White House had hosted a lunch in the East Room, and over 100 faith leaders were in attendance, and it was closed to the press. And she said, she looked directly at Trump, y'all, and she said, "You were betrayed and arrested and falsely accused. It's a familiar pattern that our Lord and Savior showed us. Because of his resurrection, you rose up." What the fuck she told us, man? She compared Donald Trump to Jesus Christ in the White House in front of over 100 people on the week of Easter. And Trump, his expression shifted from stone face to a wide smirk. That moment, she began with that comparison. He leaned into it, and he said, "They call me king. Can you believe it?" It's all that man cares about. It's all he cares. He just wants to put his name on every building. He wants to erect statues. You know, all that shit coming down as soon as they impeach his ass. All that shit coming down. This woman of faith, this grifter, this lady who pandered to Black people, who got wealthy, rich. This is why discernment is so important, Black people. Y'all just let anybody come and sell you a dream. Oh my God, this was so dangerous. Oh my God. But of course, that was blasphemous. Even people on the right were horrified when he posted this picture. They called it, they called him the Antichrist. So it's crazy. His own people are now starting to turn against him. But I think some people will go down that sinking ship with him. They will go to hell. You remember those pictures? If you've ever seen those pictures, it says, "In Trump we trust." In Trump. They have been, I mean, these are literally cult followers. They have literally been following Trump as if he's God. Okay. So I just wanted to set that foundation because it's a lot going on, but I think it is, y'all, and I'll say this until my face turns blue. I just think it's a great time for Black people. I think it's never been a better time in the history of this country for Black people. And oh, by the way, if you're watching me on Instagram, you guys come over to Facebook, go to I am Constance Carter, or YouTube at I am Constance Carter, so that you can get engaged and you could comment on here as well. But I just think it's the best time for Black people because we've always known that we were advanced, that every obstacle that has been put in our way, we've overcome it. We have been preparing for this, for a time such as this, for the last 400 years. So now there's obstacles all over because the only people who are benefiting from Trump's lunacy are the ultra wealthy. Everybody is suffering. If you ain't in the 1%, you are being affected by Trump's policies, no matter what race. See, these white folks thought, oh, it was only going to be doing that to them. We wasn't going to be affected. But when them motherfuckers lost their EBT, when they lost their farms, when they lost their Medicare, and he's talking about cutting funding so that he can support this war that he unilaterally decided to engage in, that now it's affecting everybody. But see, we've been prepared for this. We've been dealing with this type of thing forever. Gas. He said he would lower gas on day one. Those were his words. And the gas has never been higher in the history of this country. And the hike has never been higher. I think 1967 was when they last had a gas hike of this percentage. But it's never been as high as it is. Never. Never. That means your grandparents haven't seen gas prices rise in their lifetime. And he said he was going to lower them on day one. How'd that work out? How was that promise? Let's look at the other promise, no new wars. This was a centerpiece of the America First. We are not the world's police. No forever wars. Bring the troops home. Then he went to a war with Iran. After he got, listen, all Ben Netanyahu had to do was go over there and tell him, you're great, you're going to be forever great, and your name's going to be in the history, and they're going to have statues all over. I bet that's what they said. You're going to have statues all over the place. He knew how to manipulate this dude, this incompetent person. But again, this is a reflection of the incompetence that we have inside the United States. This is the reason why they did not want Black people to compete with them, because they knew on a equity, they knew what equity meant. They would get outmanned, they would get outbeat, they would get outrun, all of the things. I think it was, somebody said, I saw a story where they said Jesse Jackson, they asked Jesse Jackson, well, what do you think, why do you think Black people dominate in sports? And someone said that they thought he was going to say, oh, because, we were bred or whatever. He said, when you have a situation where everybody knows the rules and the rules are equal, when everybody knows the rules and the rules are equal, then you'll see Black folks dominate. That's the reason why they don't want the rules equal. That's the reason why they want to gerrymander. That's the reason why they want to put all of these, the poll taxes and the Save Act is a new form of poll taxes, right? That's the reason why they want to do all of this stuff. They don't want to give you equity, because understanding, if the rules are fair and equal to everybody and the playing field is fair and equal, they're out, man. We outdo them every single time. Know that. So this whole idea of no wars, and then Israel and the US, and like Netanyahu is just playing him for a fool, because he comes out, he says, I did a ceasefire. Netanyahu's still over there killing folks. It's crazy. What are we doing over there? What's the goal? It changes every day, depending on who they're asking. You ask anybody. You ask Hegseth, he has one answer. You ask Caroline, she has another answer. I don't know. Is it the regime change? Is it the nuclear weapon? Is it protecting allies? It just keeps changing, because there was never a clear reason. That's why there's never a clear answer. Nobody knows, but we're there to help our allies. But guess what? The allies is like, nah, We ain't in this. NATO is distancing themselves from this. We don't have to be there. And then he said we don't got to be there. He said we don't need their oil, but yet we're here. Then he said the third promise he said is he was going to put money back in your pockets. He was going to make life affordable. He was going to lower the cost. He was going to help working families. He was going to do all that stuff. Instead of that, what happened? Programs have been gutted, right? Daycare funding, because remember he said we don't have the money to pay for your daycare. We gotta go to war, a war that he unilaterally decided to start all by himself. Food assistance / jobs disappearing, inflation is rising. You know we are in a recession that they will not announce because they are manipulating the markets. If they announce that there's a recession, the markets are going to tank, and that's the only reason why they haven't announced it. Okay, so come on. Now, what did Tupac say? We got money for war, but we can't feed the poor. I want you to ask yourself something. If you ran your household finances the way this administration is running this country, you know how they're spending billions on things that they don't need, while you telling your family there's no money for basics, what do you think would happen? You know what happened? The lights would get cut off. Kids go hungry, and somebody will be sleeping on somebody's couch. The difference is when you mismanage money, there are consequences. When they mismanage your money, they give themselves pardons. And oh, by the way, did you see that Trump said that he's going to give everybody, he's going to do sweeping pardons? He said everybody that comes within 200 feet of the Oval Office will be pardoned before he leaves. Now, I want you to think about that. Like a financial literacy professional, like somebody who reads contracts, all right? What does it mean when people start covering themselves before an audit? Why would an innocent administration need a blanket pardon? Guilty. You don't need to pre-pardon people who did nothing wrong. You pre-pardon people who did something they know that could land them in legal trouble. So that is not speculation, y'all. That is absolute logic. Aides bring up pardons so often that some of them laugh about it. Others believe that he's completely serious. It's crazy. He's already issued like 1,600 clemency grants in the first year. Nobody has ever done this many clemency pardons in the history of this country. Okay? This is exhausting. His advisors say that he's discussing how to thwart potential congressional investigations into control over. That's the reason why he brought the new the DOJ. He just replaced the head of the DOJ. Okay, he's planning on how to block investigations into himself while he's still in office. That is not behavior with somebody who has nothing to hide. That is the behavior of somebody who knows exactly what they are doing. $1.9 billion in court-ordered restitutions. That's what he pardoned. Money owed to crime victims and taxpayers. This won't stop. Please stop. That's how much. $1.9 billion. $1.9 billion of restitution gone. He's talking about we ain't got no money. We got money for wars. We got money to pardon people who've committed frauds. The people that they owe money to, they don't even get their justice. And the same man that is telling you that there is no money for EBT, the same man who's taking away health care. Oh, let's talk about this while they over here taking away EBT. Y'all know Pete Hegseth. The man that Donald Trump, the social media guy, unqualified clown, is another clown in the circus. He was appointed to lead the entire United States military. The man who stands up and talks about sacrifice and patriotism and putting America first. Do you know that motherfucker spent in September 2025, $93.4 billion. The largest single month spending total ever recorded by any federal agency in American history. $93 billion Pete Hegseth spent in 1 month. Y'all know what he spent it on? Y'all know? I know you guys know. Put it in the chat if you know. This man spent I don't even know how you, $15.1 million on ribeye steak. $6.9 million on lobster tail. That's crazy. $2 million on Alaskan king crab. $1 million on salmon. $124,000 on an ice cream machine. And $98,000 on a Steinway grand piano that was for the Air Force Chief of Staff's home. A Steinway grand piano. Not for a concert hall, not for a school, for somebody's house that you paid for. They also spent $225 million on furniture, including $12,000 on fruit basket stands and more than $60,000 on Herman Miller recliners. Fruit basket stands. $12,000, your tax dollars. And then weeks after this spending spree was revealed, guess how many people lost their SNAP benefits? Millions. Okay? $6.9 million on lobster tails and EBT was cut. $15.1 million on ribeye steak. Families have to choose between food and medicine. $98,000 on a piano for somebody's house. Daycare funding is gone. It's not about politics. This is about priorities. And their priorities are what? They've never been you. And yet, some of you keep voting against your own best interest, and you can see it in writing. You see the receipts, and you still won't believe it. There's always money. Always. The only question that ever even matters is who are they spending it on? Not the people who need it. Right now, in this season, they're spending it on wars, on luxury, on pardons for themselves and their allies, and they're cutting everything that was built to protect the working people. Single mothers, families trying to hold it together. This is why understanding your financial IQ, financial literacy is not an option for us. This is why building your own wealth is not an option. Your credit, owning your assets is not a luxury. It is about survival. It is a necessity because they've shown us, and they show us continuously, repeatedly, without shame, that they are not coming to save us. Nobody is coming to save you, Black people. We have to save ourselves. So yes, they can do all of that, but how do we become insulated? I know that this is heavy, and hopefully you got mad about it. Maybe you've even gotten overwhelmed, and I understand. I feel it. I feel you too. But here's the thing. This is why we do the Grow Your Money. This is why I do this, because it's not just about exposing the problem. We really need a solution. What is a solution? So let's talk about what you can do right now with what you have, where you are. Number one, protect your benefits, know your rights. You got to get out there. You got to vote. You got to do all that, right? If your SNAP, your child care assistance, or any federal program you rely on has been cut or changed, don't accept it. Go to your local community action agency and make sure you go to legal aid. Many of these cuts are being challenged in courts right now. So make sure you stay tuned, stay informed, fight for what you're entitled to. Okay. The biggest thing though, is we have to start filling our own financial buffer. This last 50 years has really made us reliant on them, being dependent on the government. And we needed this awakening, y'all. We needed this to happen so that we can be self-sufficient and independent. They said in the year 2053, Black median wealth was going to be 0 if we were on the same trajectory. They said that. There was an article in Forbes magazine in 2017. I did a TEDx about it. It's called Google that shit. It was great TEDx. But I don't believe that, because we have everything we need inside of us. We already have an advantage just by virtue of us having the 400 years of having to work harder, run faster, jump higher, all, being excellent in spite of. We've had to do all of this stuff, right? So we've already had to do that. We're already prepared for it. Now we have tools, we have resources. You have access to people, to coaches, to information. They done fucked around and gave us the internet and AI. We have everything that we need inside of us. Okay. So you have to build your own financial buffer. Okay. This is why I teach what I teach. Because when the governments confront people's safety net, your financial foundation has to be stronger than that. What we gonna do? Woe is me. We gonna cry. You gonna cry in the car. What we gonna do? Because we already know that they're not coming to save us. So you got to have an emergency fund. You got to start putting some money away. You got to start investing. The Bible says to have 7. Then it said no 8 revenue streams because we never know when a disaster is going to strike. What happened in 2020? A disaster struck. That was COVID, right? That was a disaster for a lot of people. A lot of people's disasters may be divorce. I had a divorce. That was a disaster for me. A lot of people's disasters are they get laid off. Maybe somebody died in your family. Maybe that's a disaster. So we have to be prepared for all of these things because the circus is in town and they are performing their asses off. They are performing their asses off. And so it's imperative that you get in position. Okay. Build your credit. Your credit report is your financial passport. It determines your interest rates. It determines if you're able to buy a house, having equity, your business funding. In this market where you have high inflation, people with better credit are paying significantly less than people with damaged credit. So you have to have good credit in order to have leverage, at least if you don't have the money, because a lot of folks are living off of credit cards right now, which they shouldn't have to. But if you have good credit, you're able to utilize that just as a buffer to get you to where you need to be. You don't really want to use your good credit to live. You want to use it as an asset to be able, as leverage, to be able to purchase more, to do more. That's what you want to use it for. However, sometimes in this economy, when things get cut, you need to be able to have some type of buffer. And having credit is paramount. This is why I teach this. I have a credit repair masterclass inside my Grow Your Money Club ecosystem. If you look at all my books back here, I talk about credit. I have many things about credit because that is I had a 379 credit score. I filed bankruptcy in 2009. And in 2010, I went on to open up Catalyst Real Estate Professionals, which went on to be the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California. Credit is important. And if you have bad credit, that's going to hold you back from a lot of things. Okay. We got to vote in November. Get these motherfuckers up out of here. But listen, we have to definitely practice collective economics. We have to do business with people who look like us. I don't know if you know, but even in this economy, we still have great spending power. And that's a beautiful thing. We have $2 trillion of spending power. So we're not poor people. That's the thing. People think that Black people are poor. And I'm not mad at Black people who spend money. We spend money just like everybody else does. But we need to start spending with people who look like us. Here's the problem, though. A lot of us don't have businesses to spend with. Less than 3% of businesses in Black communities are Black owned. Right. So if you go into a Black community, you're going to see an Asian business. You're going to see a Hispanic business. You're going to see a Jewish business. You're going to see an Indian business. But if you go in any of those communities, if you go into a Hispanic community, you're going to see a Black owned business? Likely no. If you go into a Jewish community, are you going to see a Black owned business? Absolutely not. If you go into an Asian community, are you going to see a Black owned business? If you go into Hispanic, I already said Hispanic. If you go into an Indian, a white community, you're not going to see Black owned businesses. So why are we allowing other people to come inside our businesses and our neighborhoods, our communities, and pillage our people? Because we need services that Black folks just aren't providing. So what does that mean? That means we have to start creating our own businesses. And then we have to do business with people who look like us. The problem is we just don't have enough businesses. So I think it was Killer Mike who he did an social experiment some years back where he was like, I'm just going to buy from Black owned businesses for 30 days. And he found himself sleeping on a bench. Like he couldn't do it because there was simply not enough Black owned businesses. So Black people, we need to get information. We will spend with each other. We just have to have businesses to spend with. $2 trillion of spending power. So we have more spending power than I think if we were a country, we'd be top 5. We'd be bigger than Brazil. Black folks, talk about Black people. We'd be bigger than Italy, with the money that we spend. So think about this. So this administration, the time such as this, presents opportunity. That's all it is. We now have opportunity that we've never seen it before. Now, a lot of us are not getting grants. They're not getting Black people grants. A lot of the government contracts are being taken away from us. A lot of things they've tried to make it hard, but listen, we built for this. This is what we've been doing. Okay, that my good friend Rob, he owns Bump Box, and I was out in California 2 weeks ago, and he just did a what do you call that? Oh, God, where they raise money. Forget it. I forget. But he just raised $3 million. What is that thing called? Where you raise money. You have somebody say it. I forget it. Somebody put it in the comments. But we can do that. What is it called? And actually, there was a third party company that he had. It was a fundraiser, but it was somebody said a fundraiser, but it was a y'all know. Let me see. Crowdfunding. Thank you, Stacy. He did crowdfunding and he raised $3 million. So you might not be getting venture capital funding. You might not be able to get funding from a bank, but perhaps you can do some crowdfunding. That's where people come together and they will support you. This is people that will come together and support your business if you have a viable business. I've seen singers do crowdfunding for their albums. I've seen businesses start up businesses to do crowdfunding for businesses that didn't even make no sense. Businesses like I've seen somebody who did crowdfunding for it was some type of toy Lego thing that's like, okay, what's the point of this? But they were able to raise money. So there's opportunities out there. So yes, this may not be the time where they have as many grants as they had before, or the angel investors may not be investing in your business, but there are crowdfunding opportunities. There still are. You still do have SBA funding. I've gotten SBA funding from my business. There are things out there that you could do. You just have to bet on yourself. And then once you bet on yourself, then we got to start supporting each other. But here's the thing. Like I said, and after Ronnie gave us the internet. So you could have the greatest business in the world, but if you don't have great marketing, your business is not going to do anything. So you have the power of social media. You can access people from all over the world with your business. You don't have to have a brick and mortar. You don't have to shake nobody's hand. There's no gatekeepers like there were before. The opportunities are right here. We just have to take them. So I believe that even with Trump beefing with everybody and everything that's going on with this clown show, we have been conditioned. We have been prepared to fight this and overcome this. This is what's going to make equity happen, because equity would never happen by a Democrat or a Republican in office that was doing business as usual, that the status quo was happening. There would have never been any equity that way. We got to grab our own equity, and now is the time. Now is the time. Somebody said George Clooney was right. I don't know what did George Clooney say? So listen, there's been so much going on, and they've always told us who they are. Think about this. They just put a microphone to it. So it's just like having a boyfriend who tells you he loves you, but he does something different. They've been telling Black people that they've loved them for years, but they've never offered any reparations. They've never done anything to aid Black people or make life better. They've only done things to control the population. If you look historically, what's happened to Black folks historically, with every disease that they've given us, with every drug that they've put in our neighborhood, with every house that they've burned down, with every red line that they put in our neighborhoods that did not allow us to compete. All of these things were telling. And they've said that they loved us, but they've continued to bombard us with things that were not good for us. Even the Democrats. I don't have any political affiliation. I'm an independent. I believe that, well, the MAGA is crazy. But Republicans and Democrats, normal Republicans, normal Democrats, they're two heads of the same coin. Like, they're both the same thing. MAGA is something totally different. Come on now. MAGA is something totally different. But you have priority in your own life, in your own home, in your own community. Okay. So with me, I offer things inside my ecosystem that can help you. I am doing a free training tomorrow. It's how to bring your idea to life. So listen, if you are a business owner, you want to own a business, if you want to build a business, tomorrow I'm doing a free training. Every Tuesday I do what's called a gym master class, Grow Your Money Masterclass. And so tomorrow I'm going to be doing a free training at 12 p.m. Eastern. And it's really about stop trading your time for money. You think about this. You work in crazy hours, you have passion, you have ideas, but without income streams, you'll never be able to really build wealth. You're just working to stay. You're just working to just continue this cycle of complacency. So this is in honor of International Black Women's History Month, and this is for everybody. This training is for everybody. It's not just for Black women. Anybody could attend, but I want folks to stop hustling backwards. I want to help you to be able to turn your ideas into income, because for far too long we've been sitting on these ideas that have not served us, that have just, they say the graveyard is the richest place on earth. Why? Because millions and millions of dollars of ideas are just hanging out in the graveyard. There's a saying that the idea doesn't belong to he who thinks it, it belongs to he who executes it. And how many times have you had an idea that you thought would be brilliant, that you could make millions of dollars from, but you simply didn't have the know-how? Maybe you didn't have the motivation. Maybe you didn't have the support. All of those things. Well, let's talk about how we can turn your idea into income tomorrow. So tomorrow, free. I'm not charging anything. This is my give back to you. I do inside the Gym Masterclass. So go to gymmasterclass.com and you can sign up for this free training. That's what it is. For if you are a Black woman or a Black woman, I do what's called the Net 7 Collective. And that is a community of Black women that I personally coach. And I help them to be able to create, to increase their net worth to 7 figures. That is the goal. And that's what these ladies are doing. They are killing it. I'm super proud of them. So we have the Net 7 Collective where we help Black women to be able to increase their net worth, because my goal is to close this wealth gap. Thank you, President Trump, for helping us. I do believe that right now is the best time in the history of the world to be alive, because Trump is fucking up America so bad that it's definitely going to give us an opportunity to get ahead. We just have to take advantage. You got to strike while the iron's hot. Right now, the iron is hot for us Black people. So we got to get on it. So getting my trainings tomorrow is free. Like I said, if you are a Black woman or a Black woman, go to net7collective.com, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you to see if you'd be a good fit in this community of women that we are growing and we're building together. Because there's an African proverb that says, when you teach a man, you teach an individual, but when you teach a woman, you teach a nation. Why? Because Black women, not only are we you give us a house, we're going to make a home. You give us some food, we're going to make a meal. You gave us some seed, we're going to make a baby. Whatever you give us, we're going to multiply. And so we're not going to whatever we do, whatever we learn, we're going to share with our families. We're going to share with our communities. And that's what the Net 7 Collective is really is. It's just Black women where I teach strategies and tools, all the things that I know, how to write a book, how to be a servant leader, how to create a sustainable multi-million-dollar business, how to get business funding, how to increase your credit score, how to invest in real estate, how to do all of these things. This is what we do inside this community. So if you are interested, if you know a Black woman that needs to be a part of this community, everything that I'm doing is 25% off this month. So to join Net 7 Collective, it's 25% off. Go to net7collective.com. Otherwise, join me tomorrow for my free masterclass at gymmasterclass.com. Hopefully we're sounding the alarms for y'all to just wake up and just take action, y'all, because that's the biggest thing. I just really want to see us win, and I believe that we can. And as with everything being the status quo as it was before, something needed to shake everything up in order for us to get in position to be able to do that. And I believe this is the right time. You are the right person in the right place at the right time. Okay. Appreciate you. I will see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern for this free training to bring your idea to life, turn your idea into income. So just go to gymmasterclass.com to register. It'll be tomorrow at 12. All right. I'll see you. Peace.